So that sounds like a fun time. And meanwhile, over at A&M, you're going to have a March for Science. Zach, why don't you tell us about that?
Okay, yeah. So what happened was kind of in the fall, this whole movement started, and there's a national organization of March for Science. And so we're hosting the local event. And the idea behind this is that we want the community to come together, both in support of science. We're going to have a bit of a march on Simpson Drill Field initially at 1:15. If people want to make signs to show their support for science and come talk. And then after that, we're going to, in the Interdisciplinary Life Sciences building, have both an event with tables for activities and things to learn about the impacts of science. We're going to have a lot of researchers from campus who are there to talk about their science, what they do, so the community can come in and learn about what we do. And we're going to have a town hall event where we have professors talk about relevant events and things going on in science in the public sphere and how those impact society, so that everyone can kind of come in and learn about how science works, show their support, and we can get a dialogue started in the community.
Go ahead.
Sorry. The event is basically a nonpartisan movement for science, and the intent for the event really is to bridge the gap between the scientists and the community that they serve. It's important for the public to understand that their tax dollars that are being poured into basic research do find their way into practical applications that people are using today. And we want to make them understand that they play a vital role in the continuation of basic research that we truly appreciate. So we're opening the doors of our university for the community to come in and participate with us in this wonderful global movement that is happening on April 22nd.
And there will actually be a march on campus, is that right?
Yes. We are holding a symbolic solidarity march. Unfortunately, there are so many events on campus that it was kind of hard to find a big area for a big march, which we would have liked. But right now, the march is going to be more of a symbolic solidarity march around Simpson Drill Field. And we are going to direct the people to the Interdisciplinary Life Sciences building, where the rest of the events will happen.
That's where the dialogue will take place, hopefully.
Correct.
And both of you are science majors, is that right? You're a biochemistry major?
I am, yes.
Yes, I'm a chemistry graduate student.
Okay. So what do you two intend to do with your degrees once you graduate? I assume you're I think you're both graduate students, is that right?
Yes.
So when you have your master's or your doctorates, are you going to teach, or are you going to go out there in the larger world, or what are you going to do?
That's a great question.
You don't know
the one that we always are searching for the answer.
I remember being in college and thinking, what am I going to do with myself?
Yeah, I actually just spent 3 months on a fellowship in Washington, D.C., kind of interacting with the policy field. And so this is something I'm very interested in, is taking the stuff that we're doing here at A&M, people are doing in the lab, and making sure that it makes its way into public policy. So it's something that I'm interested in pursuing, that we get the most impact out of what we're doing here.
And do the two of you have much interaction with folks outside, I guess what you could loosely call the scientific community, talking to non-scientists about science?
Well, we do try and make the most of the opportunities that we can to relay information to the non-scientific community. For example, I was also in DC last week as part of a smaller delegation of graduate students who went on behalf of the organization that we are both part of. It's called ASTEP, which is Aggies for Science, Technology, and Engineering Policy. We went to DC to talk to our policymakers, so congressmen who represent various districts in Texas, to talk to them about how important science is and how it is important to include scientists in policymaking, because it directly affects us as well.
Now, which lawmakers were you able to talk to? Did you meet with Bill Flores?
Actually, yes, we did. We do have a great picture on Facebook if you want to go check that out.
Okay. And how were you received?
We were very well received. They were so happy to see that, young scientists coming up all the way to go and talk to them. They were very, very well receptive of the ideas that we had put forward, and their office was also very, very receptive of this particular March for Science event that we were having on campus.
Of course, you know, I guess it's impossible to discuss this topic without reflecting that, you know, without getting partisan about it. We do have a very conservative administration in Washington now, and it looks like the EPA and other environmental efforts may be scaled back. Are you at all involved in trying to influence public policy? And obviously meeting with Congressman Flores is part of that, but do you have any other involvement in trying to put the word out that we need to keep fighting to protect the environment?
Well, at this point, I must point out that what we are trying to show the science is nonpartisan. We are not trying to put forward a political statement here. So what we are trying to say is that it is important to include us in your decision-making process. And I don't know if Zach you want to point out something.
And the other thing on that is what we're trying to do is both show the support for science here, as well as to engage the public so they understand where science comes into these decision-making processes, because there are certain points where they can interact with the process through open comment periods and things like that. But if they don't know where those points are, where the scientists don't know where they can apply their expertise to these situations, then we have no impact on that. So we're trying to get everyone knowledgeable on how the government works and interacts with science, and where they have those opportunities for impact.
And if people want to take part in this march on the 22nd, where and what time should they show up?
Well, the event starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We are constantly posting updates on our website, asteptamu.com. That's ASTEPTAMU.com. It also directs the public to a Facebook page where we would be putting in updates about the map and the route of the march and where people can park.
Okay. So do you have any sort of inkling at this point of how many people will be there? Or are you just kind of figuring that whoever shows up will get to take part?
We have on the Facebook page several hundred people who have said that they will attend, and of course we're in this last push to reach out. It's hard to quantify because you never know exactly who all you've reached, and there's quite a bit of interest in the community. There's also a bunch of other events. If you're on campus for Kyle Field Day or any of the other events this weekend, please stop by. And we're hoping that some of those people will also just kind of drift in and participate as well, even if they didn't necessarily know this was going on ahead of time.
And the 22nd is a week from Saturday, right?
Yes.
So people could take part without having to leave their jobs or whatever.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, that sounds very interesting. And Michaela, tell them one more time about the event that you're involved in out at the, not at the landfill, I suppose.
No, not at the landfill. We don't have the space to accommodate everyone, but at the Wolfgang Creek. It's going to be on the festival site, so you could park along Colgate Drive or park at the mall and then walk across. But it's from 11 to 3 at Wolfgang Creek, and so there's going to be educational booths, environmental demonstrations, and a kid zone, free food, fun activities for everyone to come out and enjoy. So
free food.
Free food, yeah. We're handing out hot dogs and of course snow cones and cotton candy and sodas and drinks and everything.
Wow.
So.
Well, hey, can't miss a deal like that. And if you time it right, you could actually go to Wolf Pen and then slip on over to the campus.
Absolutely, yeah.
You could have a whole environmental day there.
Yeah, we're really hoping that you guys can feed the crowd and then just send us over.
They can sit in and listen and start to talk with our end of the community too. So
they'll be all jazzed up on hot dogs and cotton candy and ready to march, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.